Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right into something truly spectacular today. We're looking at a phenomenal piece of visual media, the cinematic chronicle of Haldighati. If you know your history, you already know the massive weight of this 16th century clash between Maharana Pratap's Rajput forces and the Mughal army. But what we're really digging into is how this world-shaking event was transformed into a visceral, incredibly meticulously crafted cinematic experience. I mean, think about it. How on earth do you capture the sheer, epic scale of a 16th century war in literally just 4 minutes? That is the massive challenge this chronicle tackles head-on. 4 minutes is barely a coffee break. It's barely enough time to establish a setting, let alone build tension, deliver a colossal climax, and wrap up a historical aftermath. Yet, as you'll see, by relying on hyper-deliberate visual and auditory choices, the creators managed to pack the emotional weight of a massive, multi-hour epic into a fraction of the time. To make an audience truly feel the weight of history like this, you absolutely cannot cut corners. So the filmmakers established some really strict visual ground rules. We're talking ultra-realistic 4K resolution, authentic, highly detailed armor down to the last rivet, and zero fantasy elements. No magic, no exaggerated physics, none of that. Just the raw, gritty, human reality of a 16th century battlefield, entirely driven by an epic orchestral score. It's a real game changer for historical immersion. And here's the 4-minute pacing map they used to pull this off. We start at 0 minutes with atmospheric setup, move into the clash at 1.5 minutes, hit the daring escape right at the 3-minute mark, and wrap up the enduring legacy in the final 30 seconds. Act 1. The tension. The film literally opens with this breathtaking sense of scale. Sweeping aerial drone shots over the ancient forts of Muar and those rugged Aravalli hills instantly ground you in the geography of the conflict. And notice that dramatic golden morning light. It sets this incredibly reverent, deeply emotional tone before the absolute horror of battle even kicks off. You can feel that the sun is rising on a day that's going to change history forever. The visual juxtaposition here is just masterful. On one hand, we've got Maharana Pratap's Rajput defenders taking these deeply emotional oaths. We see them through really personal, tight close-ups that highlight their determined faces and traditional armor. But then, the camera shifts to the advancing Mughal army, and the visual language completely flips. It suddenly becomes all about terrifying, massive scale, war elephants, highly disciplined cavalry formations, and just endless banners of the Mughal Empire waving to the relentless beat of war drums. Talk about setting the stakes. Act 2. The collision. Boom! Suddenly, we're thrown right into wide-angle shots of pure, unadulterated battlefield momentum. The music swells, the war drums peak, and thousands of warriors are charging across the valley. We're not just remote observers anymore. We are dragged right down into the dust of the charge, with horses galloping at full speed to close the distance. You can practically feel the ground shaking. It's a total sensory overload, guys. The film blends slow motion with rapid-fire cuts to capture the absolute blinding chaos of it all. Dust clouds completely choke out that golden morning light we saw earlier. Arrows are flying everywhere. Swords and shields are colliding. Those fast cuts do an incredible job simulating the panic of the melee, while these sudden jarring drops into slow motion let you actually feel the monumental weight of every single strike. Amidst the massive war elephants pushing the lines and these frantic cavalry attacks, the filmmakers make a brilliant choice. They show realistic injuries, but they entirely avoid gratuitous gore. Instead of relying on buckets of fake blood to convey the horror, they lean heavily on the emotional orchestral score and the sheer physical exhaustion you see painted on the actors' faces. This is absolutely crucial because it keeps the film grounded as an inspirational historical document rather than a slasher film. Act 3, the climax and aftermath. Right at the 3-minute mark, the camera zeroes in on the defining moment of the whole piece, Chetok's leap. This is Maharana Pratap's legendary, impossibly daring escape maneuver over a river stream obstacle, carried by his fiercely loyal horse. Rendered entirely in sweeping slow motion, the lighting drastically shifts to a deep sunset, signaling the end of the day and the end of the battle. It is quite literally the ultimate visual symbol of loyalty and profound sacrifice. And then the music softens. The aftermath is treated with this incredible, somber reverence. The frantic energy of the last 1.5 minutes completely vanishes, and the battlefield just falls quiet under that fading sunlight. It is such a brilliant tonal transition, pulling us straight out of the adrenaline-fueled heat of battle and dropping us into the cold, quiet reality of history and its consequences. Now, wrapping this all up, the film acknowledges a very complex historical reality without picking sides or declaring winners and losers. First, it notes that Maharana Pratap continues his fierce struggle for Mewar's independence in the years following Haldighati. Second, the Mughal Empire continues its vast expansion across India. And finally, we're brought to the present day, to the historical monuments that stand as silent, enduring tributes to this monumental clash. Because the creators stuck to their guns, high realism, zero fantasy, and zero bias, the film acts as a deeply respectful tribute to the history itself. It honors the absolute courage of the Rajput defenders and the staggering, disciplined organizational might of the Mughal forces equally. It's a really impressive balancing act. The Battle of Haldighati remains one of the most remembered battles in Indian history. Seeing how efficiently a 4-minute film captures that monumental history leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder. How does modern cinematic storytelling, with its soaring drones and crisp 4K resolution, not just record the past, but actively elevate our human understanding of these ancient, enduring legacies? Does it make the history more real to us today? It's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.